Hello everyone. In the last episode, we saw how Iran changed dramatically under the Shah. The economy was growing, cities were becoming modern, universities expanded, women gained more rights, but underneath all that progress, something else was growing: frustration. By the late 1970s, millions of Iranians, from students and workers to religious leaders, and even members of the middle class, felt that the system wasn't working for them anymore. And then everything happened incredibly fast. In just 1 year, one of the most powerful kings in the Middle East lost his country. Today, we are going to understand how that happened. Let us clear up one common misconception. People often imagine revolutions as one big protest. That's almost never how they happen. Think of it like a pressure cooker. For years, pressure keeps building. Nothing seems to happen. Then one day, the lid blows off. That's exactly what happened in Iran. By 1977, there wasn't just one unhappy group, there were many. Students wanted greater political freedom. Religious leaders opposed what they saw as excessive Western influence. Many workers struggled with rising prices despite the country's oil wealth. When part of the business community had become frustrated with the government policies. Here is what made this different. These groups didn't necessarily agree with each other, but they all agreed on one thing: the Shah had to go. And when very different groups unite behind one goal, governments should pay attention. Now here is where things started moving. In January 1978, a government-linked newspaper published an article criticizing Ayatollah Khomeini, who had been living in exile for years. Instead of weakening him, it had the opposite effect. Religious students in the city of Qom protested. Security forces intervened, several protesters were killed. Now here is something unique about Iranian culture. In Shia Islam, families traditionally hold memorial ceremonies 40 days after someone dies. Normally, these are religious gatherings. But in 1978, they become political gatherings too. 40 days after the Qom protest, people gathered to mourn. Those gatherings led to more protests. More people were killed. 40 days later, even larger memorials were held. Then more demonstrations, then more deaths, then another 40-day cycle. Imagine knocking over the first domino, except instead of one line of dominoes, each domino creates another line. By the middle of 1978, protests were spreading from city to city. Remember Khomeini? The Shah had sent him into exile years earlier. The expectation was simple: out of sight, out of mind. But that is not what happened. From exile, Khomeini continued recording speeches. Those speeches weren't broadcast on television. There was no YouTube, no social media. Instead, people copied them onto cassette tapes. Those tapes traveled from mosque to mosque, from family to family, from city to city. Imagine one speech being copied hundreds of times, then thousands, then tens of thousands. Long before the internet, Iran had created its own information network, and the government found it almost impossible to stop. Then came one of the defining moments of the revolution, September 8, 1978. The government declared martial law. Many protesters either didn't know about the order or chose to ignore it. Thousands gathered in Tehran's Jaleh Square. Security forces opened fire. Exactly what happened that day remains debated. Different sources report different casualty figures, but one fact is widely accepted: Black Friday changed everything. Before that day, many people still hoped compromise might be possible. After Black Friday, many concluded that the conflict had reached a point of no return. Sometimes history isn't changed only by numbers, it is changed by perception. And after Black Friday, public trust in the Shah collapsed even further. Now imagine trying to run a country when almost everything stops. Oil workers went on strike, government offices slow down, Universities closed, businesses shut their doors, millions joined demonstrations. The Shah still had one of the region's strongest militaries. But military strength doesn't automatically solve a political crisis. The bigger question became, how do you govern when much of the country no longer accepts your authority? On January 1979, the situation had become impossible. On January 16, the Shah boarded a plane and left Iran. He said he was leaving for a vacation. Almost everyone understood he wasn't coming back. For supporters of the monarchy, it was a heartbreaking moment. For many protesters, it felt like victory. One image captured the moment perfectly. The Shah looking back one last time before stepping onto the aircraft. After nearly decades in power, his rule was over. Just a few weeks later, Ayatollah Khomeini returned to Iran. Millions lined the street to welcome him. The monarchy had fallen. But here is something many people overlook. Not everyone who opposed the Shah wanted the same future. Some hoped for a liberal democracy. Some wanted constitutional reforms. Others wanted an Islamic government. While they had been united in removing the Shah, they were not united about what should replace him. And over the months that followed, one vision gradually became dominant. Iran was no longer a monarchy. It was becoming an Islamic republic. The Iranian Revolution didn't change who governed Iran. It completely reshaped the country's relationship with the United States. Many revolutionaries believed America had supported the Shah for decades. They feared Washington might once again try to influence Iran's future, just as it had in 1953. That fear and the deep mistrust built over years set the stage for one of the most dramatic confrontations of the Cold War. In the next episode, we will explore the 1979 US Embassy hostage crisis, why revolutionary students occupied the embassy, why 52 Americans were held for over 400 days, and how that single event transformed the relationship between the United States and Iran for generations. I will see you in the next one.